Hey guys, it's Brian here. Just wanted to go over my purchase of the Darth Vader 89 Sabers um, MPP hilt that I purchased from Cal at KR Sabers. I know Aaron White has done an outstanding job on his video about the breakdown and how to take it apart and what's involved and all that stuff. And I just thought I'd do a follow-up video on a couple things that I found. Basically going to do the same thing that Aaron did, but I'm going to show you a couple other things that I found pretty interesting and maybe some tips that'll help you get yours apart and together and whatever. So the Saber hilt comes pretty much assembled like this. It comes in an Empire Strikes Back configuration with the black clamp already set up on it. There's little holes in the section here for the little fake wires I'll show you in a minute. Same as here. The switch box, you can feel there's tactile switches underneath of there. This is right out of the box. It's like this. There's two retention screws, one here, one on the other side. I already took one out for the sake of speeding things up here. So what we'll do is we'll open the box. I'll show you the rest of the stuff that comes with the Saber. Now this is the kit that Cal is selling on his website, krsabers.com. This kit comes with the MPP, as you've seen, and the Rogue One grips that have the, these are a more pliable rubber than like a Corbin or something. These have the Rogue One grips with the little screws that are attached already. You also have the A New Hope grips, which are smaller, go towards the rear of the hilt. And then we have the Empire Strikes Back, which are a little longer, which I'll be using for my purposes. But we're not going to put it together today. I'll show you some tricks I have in mind for putting them on. But anyway, and what else we have here? Let's see. We have the insert. Okay, so the insert's in the bag. See this here? That's if you wanted to do A New Hope and wanted to go without the wires, you would, when I show you the internals, you can see that this whole part comes out, this whole center part. And you can swap that with the other part. Aaron covered that in his video pretty well. So you got your bubble strip, you've got your silver clamp bars along with the clamp. You also have the diamond knurled thumb screw in there rather than the slotted knurled thumb screw. Let's see if that shows up. Of course not. There it is. So one thing I did notice, the D-ring looks a little small on here. I have to go check out some accuracy photos, but we'll get to that in a minute. Also, you pay a little extra. Here's the wires, by the way. They're not really wires. Again, Aaron did cover this in his video, so I'm not going to really go spend too much time on that. So that's what you get in the bag there. Also, you spend a little extra and you get the blade plug that comes with it. So it looks really good when it's inside. It really looks accurate with the trimmed out emitter section. So anyway, I've already had this apart just to figure out what I was going to do with it. And I noticed a couple things right off the bat. So the first thing you want to do to get this thing apart is, when I received it, it was already loose. The switch box here was already loose, so that was nice. So the first thing you want to do is pull all the screws out of everything. And that's going to release the inner part of the Saber, the inner core, if you will. And what I found was a small, very thin flathead screwdriver will work on just about everything. You can go up a little size bigger for some of the stuff, but I find sticking with the smaller one is probably better. Just, you can get through everything with it. So we'll pull that screw out here. Like I said, this is a blade retention. So you have blade retention on both sides. One, you tighten one side, and then go back to the other side and tighten that side until you're happy with the tightness. So you have a hole there and a hole here. The other thing I want to mention real quick is you're probably looking at it going, hey, where's the microflash logo? Well, that was here. And now I chose to take it off. I know a lot of people like it because it gives it the old vintage look. I chose to take it off. Now, I had a hard time trying to figure out what exactly was in there holding it in. Let's see, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to get this on camera. It's a very, very, very small thing here. And I don't know if you can see that, but it is very small. And what I believe it is just like a press fit rivet. So that was what was on there. There's no glue or anything like that. It was just this. That was on there. And what I did is I have a small pair of pullers here. The smallest ones I think you can even get. And I very, very, very just took the lightsaber. I just took the hilt, got very close to it, and I got onto that rivet. And I grabbed a hold of that rivet, and it just kind of popped right out. I did the same thing for the other side, just got it on the corner, twisted it a little bit, and it popped right out. I did that without scratching anything, without ruining anything, so hopefully you have the same luck as I did with that. So that came off pretty easy. So we took out the retention screws. This will come off. The shroud comes off very easily just by turning the thumb screw on the top. There is no hole there, as Aaron described in his video. It just pops right out, just slides right out. All right, and the other thing is the clamp isn't really tight, so we can just actually the whole saber unscrews in half. So let's just do that now and get that out of the way. Because almost everything is in the top section of the hilt anyway. So we'll take the clamp off, we'll set that aside. And here's your bottom section, just empty, hollow. Adequate room in there for chassis. You also have the back that does screw off as well. Back pommel screws off as well. Vented for sound. And one piece. Looks good. Looks really good. The chrome's really nice on it. Unlike Aaron's video, Aaron had described that he didn't really see any micro scratches or anything like that. Under this lighting and in the camera, I can kind of see them here on the back section. I'm sure you can see them as well. I'm not too concerned with it because other than that, the chroming is excellent on it. And this will be all gripped anyway, and I don't really think you're going to notice it. The camera is actually picking it up more than the eye. But I'll set that aside for now. And here's our main part of the whole lightsaber right here. I mean, everything is pretty much, this is where you're going to build everything off of. So we're going to unscrew these screws to finish taking this clamp, the switch box off completely. Let's get that one off. And what's really cool is the switches are already installed. So you just have plungers here, both are plungers. And there's your installed switches that you can see there. And right now, you would think that you could just pull this right out of there, but it doesn't come quite easily. So what I had to do is I realized the two things. Something was definitely holding up in here, and I looked around in here and I didn't see anything, and I felt inside and I didn't feel anything holding it. So I realized that these little brass things are definitely going to hit that when I try to pull this out. So I just took my screwdriver and I just went like that, and they started turning. I was like, you know what? I think they're just little screws. And sure enough, I stuck my screwdriver in there, and they're like little grub screws. So I took an old hex key I have here. Everything's rolling around on my cardboard. And I just kind of stuck it in there. It's a little loose, so it won't open the hole any more than it is. And I just took that out and came right out, little grub screw. All right, so I'm going to just use that just to pull it out. You can do it by hand or use the screwdriver. So that came out pretty good. So then I'm thinking, well, that should slide right out now. What am I missing here? And I'm going to show you in a second. Now, I couldn't get this out. I'm thinking, why isn't this coming out? And I'm pushing, and as you can see, it wants to go. It's just not going quite all the way. Wants to go, wants to go, wants to go. So what I did is I screwed the back part back on and used that kind of as a tool for leverage here. So I just screwed that on. You get a nice firm grip on the front side and just kind of pull it out. You have to muscle it a little bit. Now, the reason why, now I noticed Aaron didn't have to muscle his too much. His came right out. And I realized what happened. If you look, these screws are kind of sticking out a little bit. One of them was actually a little off center too. So what I'm going to do is, before I put this back together for permanent, I will file these screws down a little bit, because once they're on, they don't need to come off. In fact, I don't even know why. I really don't even know why they're on there like that. It just must be for aesthetics on the front, just to make it look cool with the chrome. But anyway, as you can see here, you got an awesome switch plate already built into the inner chamber here, the inner part of the inner core of the Saber, if you will. Take the back off again. So this is very cool. I really like this a lot because you have 2 pads for each switch. And if you follow the lead here on this one all the way down here, it seems to go that these bottom pads would be the top switch and these upper pads would actually be this switch right here. If you just follow the leads, you can kind of see where it goes. But so you can determine which one will be your activation or auxiliary, whichever you choose. So you would just solder onto the pads. And I actually have, this is a Custom Saber Shop heatsink for 1-inch diameter tubes. So I can put that in there. Actually, you can actually put it in from this side too. And what you'll see is, as Aaron mentioned in his video, you have a set screw hole right there. Now, I'm not sure what size it is. Aaron wasn't sure what size it is either. But it won't matter to me because I always open these up to 8/32 of an inch. I have the tap and tool for 8/32, and I have a drawer full of 8/32 1/8 inch grub screws. So for me, 8/32 will be the call, and do that. So there you have it. So if I was to put that there, I have plenty of room to run my wires off my switch down through this channel into a chassis. Now, I haven't measured out what this diameter in here is yet. I know that Goth is working on a chassis for these, so I'm looking forward to see what they come up with. I'm sure an easy 3D print could fit in there to where you can put a Prism or Profi or, you know, Nano, whatever you want to put in there. So it looks like, you know, it's very install friendly, again, which is something I really like about 89 Sabers. They're usually designed for the installer. Now, showing you all that, that's really cool. This just pops out. So if you wanted to do the A New Hope version, you just grab the other piece of plastic that's in there and you just pop that in instead. But since I'm going Empire Strikes Back, I'll keep this in here. So for now, to reassemble can be a little tricky when it's tight. Like I said, this screw here is definitely sticking up and it's keeping it from going in nice and smooth. So you can see, I mean, you can see all the scratching on it. So having said that, putting it back together is not as easy as taking it apart. I found that once you get it started, you can kind of twist and turn. And then you can use the back part as your leverage to get it back in again. Now you can just keep twisting it and turning it until it lines up again with your switches, and there you go. And all your holes have to line up again. So that's not too bad. I think we're pretty close. And then what I would do is you could put any one of these screws back in just to hold the inner core back into place. Any of the screws that penetrate through the shell into the core, you can put back in, and then possibly pull the. Let's see if we can get this back in here. Yeah, so that's going back in. Yeah, so now we can loosen our back again, because now it's lined up. Okay, so yeah, you would basically just reverse the process Put your switch plate back on, and all that good stuff, which we'll do right now. We're going to put everything back together, and then I'll show you something pretty cool. Okay, so we've got it all back together now, and like I said, it can be a little daunting getting everything lined back up. If you're going to have the problem like I had with the emitter part underneath inside the core where those screws were kind of sticking out a little bit, it can be a little pain in the butt. But having said that, when I do the install on this and permanently put it back together, I will file those down, and I shouldn't have any resistance at all putting the inner core back in. So we've got it all back together now. This is the way the way we received it out of the box. So everything, I actually tightened everything down. And a couple things I wanted to go over real quick. I did the micro flash logo, I took that off. Okay, so the grips. Okay, now 89 Sabers uses a very pliable rubber grip. Now these look a little different than what used to come with their Graflex. They're a little more glossy, a little shinier. So they don't look bad at all. They actually look pretty good compared to some of the other stuff that was coming with the Graflex. I found that the Graflex, I did a bunch of installs on the 89 Graflex, and I was finding that they were hit or miss. They were very inconsistent with the grips. But these seem to be a little bit nicer. So I like these. I think I'll go with these. And what I'm going to do here is show you what... I believe the Empire Strikes Back version has 6 grips on it. So what I would do, I would use my Graflex template that was 3D printed by, I got it on Shapeways. Oh, I forget the name. So forgive me. I forget your name. But it's a great design. You line up. Now, obviously, this is too short for what I want for the Empire Strikes Back version, because they're going to go all the way out there. But what I'm going to do is probably, instead of buying a whole new guide, I'll probably get my alignment right, start it, and then, pull it out, and then finish it off to where it's the right length. But I mean, at least if you get the spacing between the back side, and you can pretty much eye it up straight. Or I could just order another one that's made for what I'm doing, but I'm just probably going to go ahead and use that. The other cool thing I found on here was the shroud. I like the shroud, and I'm going to take the shroud off and spend a minute on this. Not a minute, a couple seconds on this. Shroud just comes off, and it seems awfully easy, but the shroud is nice, but it's kind of got, I don't know if it's anodized or painted, but I can see some chipping already on it. And the other thing is the D-ring is, it's just too small. It doesn't look right. So I was rooting through my bin, and I found this old Romans I had. Not old. It's not that old at all. If you notice, the screw broke in it. Don't ask. Long story. But that's why I've just been holding on to it. And I'm probably going to take drill that out and retap it for another screw. I just never got around to it. But what I noticed was the look of the Romans is far superior to the look of the 89. And it's not, I'm not knocking 89. It's just the Romans just feels and looks so much more right to me. It's got the right kind of flat black, the right texture. It's got the right kind of curvature around the emitter part. It also fits perfectly on the 89. So that was a little trick I wanted to share with you guys. It fits, and I mean perfect. It fits absolutely perfect. It fits as well as this. Now, the advantage of the Romans is the bigger D-clamp. Now, in my estimation, the D-clamp is, or the D-ring is too big on the Romans, while on the 89, it's too small. But for my purposes, now this saber will go with a costume that I am working on. I am working on a Darth Vader costume. So I need something that's going to hang on my belt clip pretty good. So this D-ring is going to do the trick. And I really like the look of this Romans. So I'm going to go ahead and upgrade the front of the 89 with a Romans emitter. I'll probably drill this out, retap it, and put the correct screw in there. But in the meantime, like I said, there's nothing wrong with this at all. I'm just not sure of the accuracy of it, and I just happen to like the Romans a little better. The other problem was the D-ring. I can't get that on a saber hook. It just won't fly. It won't go on a hook. So that was one little issue I had there. So other than that, I mean, I think Aaron covered pretty much everything. This clamp, by the way, isn't doing anything, and all it does is slide around all over the place. So once you get your grip set, I would suggest maybe putting a little dab of, I don't know, on this part maybe, so that you don't interfere with screwing off the back pommel. Maybe some E6000 or something that won't be permanent. Because, I mean, you can tighten this up as far as you want, but for me, I would think it's still going to slide around. Or maybe not. I don't know. It remains to be seen. But other than that, I think we covered pretty much everything. The grips will go... Grips pretty much tell you where to put the clamp if you're going Empire Strikes Back, because you know that the grips went all the way to the clamp, so it'd be like that. And then the pommel gets screwed on. So yeah, so I hope that this was helpful. I mean, Aaron White's video was great. I just wanted to throw out the idea about the core, about getting that in and out, using the back part as a tool itself to line up and push your inner core in and out of the sleeve, if you will. I think that's an idea to keep in mind if you're having trouble. Use that back part, screw it on, and when you want to take it back off again, just to be safe, I would put both retention screws into the body, into the core, and then, you know, you could unscrew your saber, your rear section again. So, like I said, very, very happy with 89 Sabers. Again, another well-designed hilt. Designed for the installer, really. I mean, you can put there's so much room in it, you can put any board you can imagine in there. I'm sure there's going to be a ton of chassis out there soon enough. And I'm sure there's probably already some out there that'll fit this right off the bat. There's probably a press fit chassis I could probably look up right now and find. I just haven't done it yet. But yeah, so I hope this helps anybody with any questions. And as to just to back up Aaron's video, it is really a beautiful, beautiful hilt. So I don't think anyone would regret getting it. Hey guys, I thought I would update. I spent some time today after making the first part of this video, and I explained that I had a hard time getting the core of the saber back into the main part of the saber, mainly because this screw here was giving me a hard time. It was kind of up and raised, and what I did is I filed it down and went and checked everywhere and made sure that everything else was smooth, and that worked out really good. Then I went into trying to figure out how I was going to do a chassis for this. I'm not looking for a crystal chamber or anything like that. But I had this Omni board from Arms of Ilum. And this is an Omni board chassis for a Graflex. And what I had found was, for the Graflex 2.0, and let me unscrew these first and I can explain it better. What I had found was that it was a press fit chassis, so it has, I'd say about, you know, it comes in about, I don't know, a half inch or maybe a little more, so over to there somewhere. And it actually screwed in, it threaded itself into an MHS heatsink, which happened to fit, believe it or not, perfectly into the core system here. So I went ahead and I retapped all the holes here, drilled and tapped to 8 32nds of an inch. I'm sorry, 10 32nds of an inch with 1/8 inch set screws. So what I did is, and if you look down here, you can see I already have a heat sink installed in there just for my own personal, I just wanted to see how far it would sit back. And it sits back pretty far. It sits back all the way to here. You have at least 3 inches of blade depth on this, so you're going to be able to battle really dull with this. I would think. But so anyway, I thought this was a neat idea for anybody looking for an easier, cheaper solution to some of the other chassis systems that are out there and that are going to be out there. I'm sure some are going to be cheaper, some are going to cost a fortune, depending on what you want. But this is a no-nonsense kind of solution that I came up with. Now this one's printed in blue, of course, and I just had it around. But of course you can get a black one and do whatever you want to do to it. But so I went back and forth, and now you have a whole chassis core system for the 89 Sabers Vader. Show you the results of me filing that down now. Absolutely was a big improvement. Now I can push the core back into the shell now, and no problem at all. This is nice and solid, and back screws on, no problem at all. And if you want to see how that looks, we'll take the pommel off, and there would be the speaker right there. So I don't know if it's getting good light there or not, but plenty of room in there. So it should be nice and loud, should resonate pretty well with this kind of idea I got here. So I just kind of wanted to show that off, because I did kind of leave it with the first part of the video. I kind of left there with me kind of doubting I was going to get this all together, you know what I mean? But yeah, so worked out pretty good. So anyway, there's that. Thanks for watching.